Seth, The Garden of Martyrs is a powerful new opera based on an early 1800s murder in Wilbraham that transfixed our region nearly 2 centuries ago. Here to share more about this opera are Kevin Rhodes, conductor of the Springfield Symphony Orchestra, composer Eric Sawyer, and librettist Harley Erdman. It's wonderful to have you here, gentlemen. This is quite an exciting thing you're doing. Kevin, tell us about how the symphony came together with this whole story, The Garden of Martyrs.
Well, a few years ago, Eric contacted us at the orchestra about this project that he had. He and Harley were working on this opera, and they presented the story to us, and I just found it so intriguing. And then I had, of course, listened to some of Eric's music, and I really, even though I at that point hadn't heard a note of the piece, I really had the sense that this really had the potential to be an incredibly special project for the orchestra to get involved in. So I said yes, and we got involved.
That's so exciting. I can tell you're very excited, Kevin. Well, you always
pumped.
are enthusiastic about all the performances there. Now, this is very special to you. This has been a work for quite a few years that you've been working on. Tell us the story.
The story is based around, it's a true story, it's a local story. There was a murder in 1805, November of 1805 in Wilbraham. There was a traveler along the road named Marcus Lyon. He was ambushed, he was assaulted, he was murdered. There happened to be 2 Irishmen who were innocent of the crime who were about a mile away going from Boston to Albany. And they were unjustly accused of the crime. They were accused of the crime mostly because they were Irish and they were Catholic at a time when there were very few Irish and very few Catholics in New England. And they were brought to Northampton. They were held there. There was a very speedy and unfair trial there, and they were executed in Northampton actually in June of 1806. So it's a story. It's a very resonant story. It's a very relevant story. It's a story of injustice. It's a powerful story, and the opera is focused on really the stories of these characters and these 2 men, Dominic Daly and James Halligan. The true story that really has a lot of meaning for our region.
This is such a unique opportunity for people to come and see this in opera form. It's fascinating.
Absolutely. You know, because you know, the thing they always say is that when people can't find the words anymore to say what they mean or feel, they sing.
They sing, yes.
They sing, and so opera is the perfect expression of this. And you know, and there was another aspect of this story which I found so fascinating. If Harley could fill us in on the actual hanging, because the number of people who came to this hanging versus the number of people in the region is really astounding.
There were 15,000 people who showed up to see the execution, the hanging of these 2 men, which was an enormous percentage of the population.
In what year again?
In 1806, they were hanged. So people came from all over Massachusetts to cheer on the executioners and to sort of just enjoy the festivity of that in a very grisly way. And there was a priest named Father Cheverus who was invited to give the oration before the men were hanged. He's a major character in the opera, and he spoke so powerfully and so kind of prophetically in a way that he kind of hushed the crowd and made them rethink and challenge their own attitudes.
I can only imagine what this music is like. It's got to be so intense.
Oh, it's very intense. It's very intense.
And now, Eric, you're the composer. What was this like for you to compose this music?
Another collaborator with us is the novelist Michael White, who wrote a wonderful novel back 6 or 7 years ago treating the subject, and he made out of this history compelling, interesting characters filling in where history left off. And for me, composition of an opera is very largely about bringing people to life, about characters and conflict and heroism and larger-than-life events, of which this certainly is.
Wonderful. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but we want to let everyone know it's coming up on September 20th.
Yes, September. There's 2 performances.
22nd, 2 performances. People can go to the website, springfieldsymphony.org, to learn more. Also, the upcoming season starts in October.
That's right.
Kevin, and that's very exciting for you. What is the exact date?
October 5th is the beginning of the Springfield Symphony season, Springfield Symphony Hall.
Wonderful. Great. Thanks so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And we'll have more Mass Appeal coming up right after this.